Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Sharon Bown, and joining us this evening from the Australian Army is Major Rodney Allen. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you are able, would you please stand and join in singing the National Anthem?
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, all beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains that let us sing, advance Australia fair.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved. And here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament. Flowers of the forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Neil Edward Douglas Robertson. Neil Robertson was born on the 18th of January 1926 at Mount Magnet in Western Australia. The son of William and Bertha Robertson, Neil's mother died when he was 9 years old. His father later remarried, and the Robertson family grew larger with the arrival of more brothers and sisters. Neil Robertson went on to work as a miner at Gwalia, a gold mining settlement that had grown around the Sons of Gwalia mine from the late 1890s. On the 11th of April 1944, having recently turned 18, Robertson enlisted for service with the Australian Imperial Force. He was posted to an infantry training battalion. In June, he was injured, suffering from a broken nose, but apart from this incident, his training seems to have gone smoothly. In April 1945, Private Robertson embarked at Townsville, bound for overseas service. After landing at Morotai, an island in modern-day Indonesia, he was transferred to the 2nd 28th Battalion. The 2nd 28th Battalion had been raised in Western Australia in 1940, before training in Palestine and then fighting in and around Tobruk, before moving to Syria and Lebanon for rest, training and garrison duties. In 1942, it took part in fighting at El Alamein, suffering heavily at Ruin Ridge, before returning to Australia and reorganising for jungle operations. The battalion joined the fight against Imperial Japan in New Guinea in September 1943, before returning home in January 1944 for leave and extensive training. In April 1945, Private Robertson joined his unit at Morotai, which was being used as a staging area in preparation for an amphibious operations in Borneo. The invasion was preceded by attacks by air units on Japanese bases and transport infrastructure across western and northern Borneo, as well as 3 days of minesweeping operations in the bay. The 2nd 28th Battalion came ashore on the western side of the beach at first light on the 10th of June, first meeting opposition at Flagstaff Hill at 10:45 a.m. One of the battalion's companies captured the hill, while its other companies continued to advance. In the afternoon, Japanese troops supported by tanks and mortars attacked from the west of the hill. Because of manpower shortages, the 9th Division were under orders to minimise casualties during the Borneo campaign, and unit commanders relied heavily upon air and artillery support to complete their objectives. By any measure, the landings were successful, but even success came at a price. By the end of the 10th of June, the 2nd 28th Battalion had killed and captured many enemies, but it too had suffered casualties. Amongst the dead was 19-year-old Private Neil Robertson. His remains were buried near where he fell, but later reburied at Labuan War Cemetery, where they lie today under the inscription chosen by his grieving family. His duty fearlessly and nobly done, ever remembered. His name is listed in the Roll of Honour to my right, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Neil Edward Douglas Robertson, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and we wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.